Another squall blinds Hipper, and Sherbrook turns his ship beam onto the wind to help fight the fires raging forward and amidships. He orders the forward magazines flooded to prevent a catastrophic explosion. Only then does he give command of the escort to Captain Kinloch aboard HMS Obedient. Only now does he allow himself to be taken below for medical attention as HMS Onslow retreats toward the convoy, trailing smoke. Meanwhile, Comets changes course to the northeast, trying to hook around and reappear on the convoy's far side. The minesweeper HMS Bramble, separated during the storm, can only see the glow of gunfire on the horizon. She's hurrying back to help when she runs straight into Admiral Hipper emerging from the murk. The cruiser unleashes a full broadside at point-blank range. Bramble courageously returns fire with her single forward 4-inch gun, one gun against a heavy cruiser. But she's quickly reduced to a blazing wreck. Comets detaches the destroyers Friedrich Eckholt and Richard Byton to finish her off, and she sinks with all hands. 121 men, gone in minutes. The convoy continues heading south, unwittingly being herded toward the Lützow. Humiliated brings up the rear, still making smoke. 12 merchant ships are in the middle, with HMS Obedient and HMS Obdurate 2 miles to port. HMS Onslow and HMS Orwell are beyond them, and Forsar is still 15 miles to the north, racing south at full speed. The pocket battleship Lützow fires up her search radar and detects the convoy. Hum's Obedient spots her through the gloom to the southwest, so she, Obdurate, and Orwell rush to shield the merchant ships. Foul weather between the pocket battleship and the convoy makes good gunnery unlikely, so Captain Stange decides to slip back into the mist and cross around behind the convoy to strike from the northeast. But the convoy commander, Captain Mel Hewish, brings his merchant ship southeast to put more distance between them and Admiral Hipper, who is still probing from the north. This maneuver inadvertently foils Lützow's flanking attempt, and they escape the pincer. Both German heavy ships are now searching separately to the east of the convoy, and the British have no idea how close they came to annihilation. At 11:50 a.m., Captain Kinloch, now commanding the escort, orders the damaged HMS Achates to the front of the convoy with HMS Onslow so the two wounded destroyers can support each other. But in doing so, Achates emerges from the smoke screen and is spotted by Admiral Hipper, stalking 10 miles to the northeast. Minutes later, shellfire rains down around her. Despite evasive maneuvering, the second salvo strikes home, killing her captain and the bridge crew, and igniting severe fires amidships. The next salvo damages her boilers, cutting her speed to just 12 knots. Despite the best efforts of her crew, the damage is fatal. She's dying. Kinloch brings the fighting escort about to face Hipper again. Finish with Achates, Admiral Hipper's gunners switch fire. Shell splinters from the first salvo knock out HMS Obedient's radio. The German cruiser can't close with the destroyers to the risk of a torpedo attack, but Vice Admiral Comets retains the initiative and can dictate the battle. The destroyers are running themselves ragged, screening the convoy, but that caught and pressed the attack against either German ship without leaving the merchants exposed to the other. The convoy is being stalked by two powerful warships and is in serious danger. The trap is closing, and then, at 11:26 a.m., Forsar arrives. Light cruiser HMS Sheffield's radar detects Admiral Hipper 8 miles ahead. Distracted by the battle, Hipper is unaware of the danger bearing down on her. Rear Admiral Burnett brings the Town-class cruiser to starboard, unmasking her full 12-gun broadside. Under radar control, her 6-inch guns thunder through the gloom. Comets is bewildered by shells suddenly crashing around him. Sheffield's second salvo punches a hole through the waterline, killing one man, causing flooding, and wrecking the number 3 boiler room. This forces one engine to be shut down, capping Hipper's speed. HMS Jamaica joins the bombardment. An armor-piercing shell ignites a fire in Hipper's seaplane hangar. The next penetrates her starboard side. The German heavy cruiser attempts to return fire, but smoke from her battle damage blinds her gun directors, and her shooting wildly inaccurate. Panicked, Hipper may have the bigger 8-inch guns, but the ships of force are, with their greater number of lighter 6-inch batteries, outgun her through sheer rate of fire. In seconds, the tables have turned. Cummins himself is trapped in a pincer between 3 British destroyers on one side and a pair of British cruisers on the other, with Lützow nowhere to be seen. Remembering the Führer's orders to exercise caution, at 11:37 a.m., he orders all ships to break off and run. The Germans turn away southwest, trailing smoke, and the British give chase. Further north, the destroyers Friedrich Eckold and Richard Beitzen are returning from finishing off HMS Bramble when they signal to Cummins. "I can see a cruiser and a destroyer at 3,000 yards. Is that you?" "It's not." HMS Sheffield's lookout spots the destroyers to miles ahead, and her skipper immediately turns hard to bring all guns to bear. Richard Beitzen tries to warn Eckold, but it's too late. Sheffield lets fly with everything 2-pounder AA guns, 4-inch guns, and no less than 16 salvos from her 6-inch main batteries. In seconds, Friedrich Eckold explodes, split in two. The torrent of gunfire reduces her to a mangled, burning wreck, with debris raining down across hundreds of yards of ocean. Richard Beitzen is engaged by HMS Jamaica, but escapes behind a sudden snow squall. To the south, Lützow finally spots the convoy and fires her first salvo of the battle, straddling the freighter Calabria. But almost immediately, Captain Stange obeys Cummins's withdrawal order and ceases fire, turning away southwest where the 2 capital ships will rejoin. HMS Sheffield and HMS Jamaica give chase, trading salvos with the retreating German ships through the mist until radar contact is lost at 2 p.m. The guns fall silent, their distant echoes fading across the black water. Hitler claims in his New Year's Eve address that the Kriegsmarine has destroyed the entire convoy. When Vice Admiral Cummins breaks radio silence to make his report the next day, the Führer is less than thrilled. The convoy has lost 1 destroyer, HMS Acades, and the minesweeper HMS Bramble, with the destroyer HMS Onslow damaged. But all 15 merchant ships escaped unscathed. Every tank, every truck, every drop of fuel reaches the Soviet Union. In return, the Kriegsmarine has lost the destroyer Friedrich Eckold and her entire crew, and the heavy cruiser Admiral Hipper is in need of considerable repairs. Hitler's entire rationale for Operation Rainbow was contradictory. It was a daring operation in concept, but his orders forced timidity in its execution. Naturally, Hitler views the issue differently. He condemns the Navy as a breeding ground for revolution, idly lying about and lacking any desire to get into action. "It is now my irrevocable decision," he says, "to do away with these useless ships." On Hitler's orders, the battleship Gneisenau is dismantled, and further scrappings are narrowly avoided. The success of a handful of British destroyers against a heavy cruiser and a pocket battleship has shattered Hitler's faith in the German surface fleet for good. With his surface fleet now useless, the head of the Kriegsmarine, Grand Admiral Erich Raeder, resigns and is replaced by U-boat Commander Karl Dönitz, signaling a doctrinal shift that will define the rest of the war at sea. Convoy JW-51B reaches the shelter of Murmansk on January 3, 1943. British Home Fleet Commander Admiral John Tovey regards the battle as a victory. That an enemy force of at least 1 pocket battleship, 1 heavy cruiser, and 6 destroyers, with all the advantage of surprise and concentration, should be held off for 4 hours by 5 destroyers and driven from the area by 2 6-inch cruisers without any loss to the convoy is most creditable and satisfactory. For his gallant command of the escort force, Captain Robert Sherbrook is awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest award for bravery in the presence of the enemy. He loses the eye but keeps his command, and when asked about the battle later, he says simply, "We did what we came to do." The convoy got through. For a destroyer captain, there's no higher praise. The guns fell silent that New Year's Eve, but their echoes still whisper across the Arctic wind a reminder that sometimes the smallest ships carry the heaviest burden, and that courage does. It need armor plating when it is forged from something stronger, the will to stand between evil and the innocent, no matter the cost. That day didn't just change the war. It changed every man who lived to tell the story. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories from the annals of naval history.